This letter flipped my whole world upside down. My mom pushed it over the crisp white tablecloth, her sparkling ring glinting under the lights. My sister leaned closer, phone in hand, acting like this was a memory worth capturing. The whole restaurant went hush. The violin group paused right in the middle of their tune. What was inside that letter wasn't cash or a greeting card. It was a document cutting me off, signed by every one of them. My graduation gift. I creased it once, then again, and got to my feet. No yelling, no drama, just quiet and the feel of that paper in my grip. They figured they'd pin my finale. They had no clue they just kicked off theirs. Stick around to the finish. You'll witness how quiet can flip the script on everything. As a kid, I figured out fast that affection in our home came with scorecards. My dad, Robert Hayes, gauged value by profits and payoffs. My mom, Elaine, judged it by how things looked. My sister, Brooke, nailed the perfect mix of both. At fancy dinners, I was always the afterthought introduction. Brooke's a top consultant in Manhattan. Mom would glow, her palm planted firmly on Brooke's arm. Then her voice would dip, almost sorry-like. And here's Jordan, still in school. That same beat of silence, that same courteous grin, like I was some overdue assignment waiting for a grade. Folks would give a quick nod, eye me for a second, then swing back to the bubbly. I got good at grinning back, soft and on cue. Our eating area always carried the scent of wood shine and high hopes. The fancy light fixture over the glass table tossed shattered beams across my drink, bouncing images that never quite landed. I'd tally them, little cracked rings, while Dad talked stocks and takeovers, and Mom practiced thank yous to big donors who confused show for goodness. Brooke flourished in that scene. She mastered slipping from chat to chat, knowing when to chuckle lightly, when to angle her head just right to seem tuned in. I watched her like a lab experiment. Every move scored points. Every break was timed perfectly. Me? I pulled evening shifts at a coffee shop close to school. The steamer roared louder than any talk at home. There, nobody cared about family names or traditions. They just wanted their drink spot on and their names spelled right. I dug that. It was straightforward, neat, real. One weekend after a brutal shift, I got home to see Brooke at the kitchen island, laptop open, Dad pouring red wine. "We were just discussing you," he said, twirling the glass. "Brooke thinks you're throwing away time at that coffee bar." Brooke didn't glance up. "It's not throwing away, Dad. It's building grit." Her words were breezy, but the bite was there, cutting through the fake nice vibe. I let out a quiet laugh, acting like it didn't hurt. "I'm covering my own classes," I said. Dad just shrugged. "Diplomas don't cover rent, Jordan. Figures do. Keep that in mind." I wanted to tell him I got figures better than anyone there, that I could design setups, follow patterns, predict results. But his focus was already sliding back to Brooke. After that evening, I quit trying to jump into their talks. I just observed, noted, gathered info in the low-key way that clicked for me. Still, there were times I hoped maybe things would shift. Like when I landed a big national research grant, I forwarded the email, attached the news bit, waited for a reaction. Mom replied 6 hours later. "So proud, honey. Gala tonight. Can we share tomorrow?" They never did. That was the day I got a basic, lasting truth about our family. Notice was money, and I was the unpaid helper in their kingdom. I recall the chime of those crystal cups that night, how they rang in perfect sync, like the house itself cheered my being overlooked. That was when I learned my spot in this crew, somewhere between quiet and needing to prove myself. 2 days before graduation, a note popped in the family chat. A booking link. Maison Lumière, the spot Mom reserved for every big win that wasn't mine. The text was basic. Pre-grad dinner for Jordan. Dress right. No smiles, no heat, just rules dressed as manners. I tapped the link. My name wasn't even listed. The welcome said, "The Hayes family. Robert, Elaine, Brooke." Leaving me out wasn't an error. It was a message. An hour later, Brooke messaged just me. "Don't read into it. Just a glitch in the system." System. That word stuck. That's how they viewed me, a line of code they could erase. That night I sat at my desk, city glow blinking against the pane like noise. My email lit up with unread pings from backers, peers, teachers. Wins, markers, nods. None hit home when the folks who set your value still graded you with nothing. I flipped through old family pics, trips, holidays, charity events. Mom's perfect stance, Dad's trained grins, Brooke's polished appeal, and me always on the side, partly lit, partly noticed. It wasn't fresh. It was just the first time I saw it without wishing. Next morning, an email from school confirmed my speaking spot at commencement. My advisor, Dr. Ramirez, had put me up for the Emerging Tech Leader Prize. She wrote, "This is your time, Jordan. Claim it softly." Softly. That felt like a rope in a world of fragile stuff. I shut the laptop and drew a deep breath. Sun sliced through the shades in sharp straight lines. I started seeing how exact my space had gotten. Mug lined up with the pad, sheets sorted by hue, clock ticking steady. That's when it hit me. My days weren't messy. They were sorted, just not by them. I grinned. The kind you flash when the evidence is already in. The evening before the dinner, the city buzzed under warm summer showers. My place's windows misted at the edges, glass shaking with each subway rumble. Inside all was set. Dock straight screens soft blue. I made fresh brew, the aroma slicing the storm bold and real. My keys tapped with the drops. Each data entry, every filed note was a subtle pushback. I quit justifying myself months back. Reasons were for folks who wanted to be gotten. Logs were for those planning to stick. So I logged. Every grant app, every honor note, every bit of code from my project route stream. What started as a class task grew into the real deal. A tool helping small delivery firms sharpen paths. Liam ran the numbers. Sophia designed the look. And me, the coffee slinger with a business degree, coded the heart. It wasn't flashy, but it ran. The wind hit one pre-dawn morning when a test shaved fuel use by 12%. I leaned back, eyes on the stats. Evidence. Solid, no doubt proof. By the school's startup fair, route stream was set. Dr. Ramirez pulled me aside before my slot. "Don't pitch yourself," she said. "Show the work. Let numbers talk." They did. When I rapped, claps started polite, then genuine. In the crowd was a guy in a sharp charcoal suit. Marcus Reed, head of Summit Freight. He came up after. Voice even, curiosity real. "You've made something that grows," he said, eyeing the charts. "But bigger, something just. A word I hadn't heard in ages. We met twice more. Third time he passed a binder over the table. Inside, intent to buy. Summit wanted RouteStream for $6.2 million, plus a lead role for me after graduation. I didn't ink right away. I read every line, every detail. Wanted to lock in that the setup I'd made from quiet, not handouts, stayed whole. When I signed, it wasn't a cheer. Felt like even. From there I built my vault. Digital backups of every file, dated, locked. Deal slips, rights docs, payout proofs. The trail that doesn't just narrate, it nails it. The night the final wire hit, I printed the note. The sheet sliding from the printer sounded crisper than any ovation. That's when I opened the family chat after months away. Latest from Mom. Pic of Brooke at a firm bash. Caption, "Proud barely says it." I typed back plain. "Grad dinner set. I'll be there." No flair, no why. Then I tidied the place like before big moves. Everything slotted. Lines matched on the desk. My job offer, diploma case, and a worn envelope from kid days. A birthday note from Mom saying, "To my little visionary." I tucked the new papers under it, ink bold, weight reel. Midnight slipped in soft. I closed the screen, poured the last coffee, watched city glow dance on the water. Thought about that dinner, their grins, snaps, show. For once, no fear. They'd bring their note, thinking it set me. They didn't know I'd already inked something lasting. My freedom. I dozed off with that. Rain quit. The quiet after felt sacred. Morning came early. First rays hit the desk corner, bouncing off the metal clasp on the deals. I brushed the sheets, centering. Didn't dress for them. Dressed for logs. Sharp jacket, hair back, muted shades. Look that doesn't plead notice but insists recall. Before heading out, I set my mug by the laptop, exactly 1 inch from the side. Routine, structure, evidence. I locked up. Chicago streets still wet. Reflections long on the pavement. My image stared from a cab window. Steady together, someone I knew at last. Near Maison Lumiere, I paused at the doors. Inside, chandelier sparkle, Mom's outline, Brooke's familiar phone tilt. I breathed even. They thought this was their show. No idea the lines were redone, inked, locked, dated. This time I wasn't stepping into their act. I was stepping into evidence. The host grinned. "Hayes table. Pro," but I caught the blink when my name wasn't listed. I nodded. "Yes. They're waiting." Air inside carried mushroom sauce and costly coolness. My family held the corner spot under light glow. Mom waved like a happy catch-up, not a cutoff. Brooke raised her phone a bit, setting the frame. "Jordan, sweetie." Mom cooed, voice syrupy. "We've got a treat for you." A waiter set a clean white envelope by my spot. Dad cleared his throat, practiced power in the pause. "Time to move on," he said. Mom beamed bigger. "From us all," she tacked on. Brooke's lens caught it all. The slide over cloth, my face blank. I opened slow. Paper thick, raised lettering. "We, the signed, release all family duties and links with Jordan Hayes." Each name there, initials smooth, rehearsed. My grad gift. Table watched, ready for tears or shouts. But I'd lived the true mess already. I folded once, twice, set it by my spoon. "Thanks," I said. Voice level on purpose. Brooke blinked. "You're thanking us?" I held her eyes for the end. Air pulled tight, fragile. Dad shifted. Mom's fingers hovered over her glass. Brooke eased her phone down, unsure what she filmed now. "Jordan," Mom murmured. "No need to complicate." But I was pulling a folder from my bag, same steel gray as Marcus's suit that contract day. I laid it out, flipped open. Inside, buyout notice. Summit letterhead shown. Below, my name, head of data systems, route stream, merge director. Silence. Background string switched tunes, blind to the burial. Brooke leaned in, scanning quick. "This is yours." "Yes." Dad frowned, his bad bet scowl. "You sold." "I built." "Then sold," I said low. "Closed last week." Mom tried to rally poise. "We had no idea." "I know." First time Mom went wordless. Brooke's phone stayed gripped, record light off. Dad reached for wine, hand shaky enough the base tapped stone. I didn't loud up. Didn't grin. Just rose. "Keep your letter," I said, pushing their cutoff back. "I've got mine." The twist hit soft, spot on. Behind, Brooke whispered, "Plea or swear?" I didn't look. At the door, piano notes filled their void. I stopped, hand on frame, city lights in the glass ahead. In it, them still seated in their shiny hollow world. Outside, air bit colder. Smelled of rain, liberty. Phone check. Summit notes, media pings on the deal. Evidence. All dated. Envelope in hand felt feather now. Just sheet and ink. They'd handed me quiet years back. Tonight I gave it back, refined. Lake wind cut clean, washing what stuck from inside. City thrummed past towers, uncaring, vital. I walked easy, heels blending with traffic. Each step lighter. Home sky pale to dawn. Soft light striped the floor through blinds. I set their letter by my framed diploma. Small next to the new. Summit's offer bold, final, 2 takes on my name. 1 erased, 1 not. Brewed coffee slow, sure. Cup tap, table soft. That clicked my beat now, steady, owned, breathing. Didn't reread theirs. It did its job, mark, when I quit begging to fit. Now framed behind glass, pressed with winds that stick. Phone buzzed. "Brooke. We didn't mean it that way." "Talk?" I stared. Dots blinked, vanished, blinked. Then flipped it down. Some texts aren't for reply. They're for fading to quiet. Light warmed. City woke, trucks, runners, new day hum. I cracked the window, air in. Below, train scraped steel on steel, raw, true. In the pain, a woman stood who didn't owe reasons for being solo. I took their letter once more, creased neat, tucked behind the degree frame. Not hid, just ordered. Proof of before, evidence of after. Room air settled. My stance too. Quiet finally wasn't void. It was won. Payback didn't roar win. It sighed calm in a still space. The quiet you picked, not pushed. Families crack loud. Calm rebuilds soft. They cut me from their tail, but I turned the line they can't scrub. Some tails skip pardon. They land on clear sight. If you've been the low voice one, the one they lowballed, this is yours. Stay to the close because quiet isn't giving up, it's the plan. And the steady after.